we're going to welcome in our final interview of the evening. That would be a cross-country standout, Cassie Kolonchuk. Cassie, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
First and foremost, Cassie, how has your season gone for the Yellow Jackets?
It's been going pretty well. Being a junior, but this is only our second year of collegiate cross country, definitely still adjusting to it. But overall, it's been a season with some good races, some PRs, and training's been going really well.
Talk about the start to your career. Obviously not the start that you were hoping for with the pandemic wiping out the 2020 fall season. What did you do to stay in shape during that time, and how difficult was it to know that you had to train but there wasn't a competition for you to push yourself toward?
Yeah, so I actually have a really unique start to cross country. I played 13 years of soccer, so I did not run cross country in high school, but had background as a distance runner in track. So coming collegiately, I knew I wanted to run cross country. So then I started training, and then COVID, senior year, took away track. We continued training for cross country. That would have been, summer 2020?
Yep.
Yeah, summer 2020. And then halfway through, we found out that competitions were put on hold until the spring, or until it would be January 2021. But continued to train. So getting to compete at the beginning of last year, it was really new. We had a really young team, as we had a lot of freshmen coming in, and my sophomore class had never competed collegiately. So that was definitely interesting to get to train through the pandemic, but then once we were actually able to compete, we had a really young team and getting to learn how to race collegiately all together.
How excited were you for that opportunity to compete when it did finally arrive again?
Really excited. It had been a really long time since we had raced and competed, and even though we were wearing masks during practice, it was so fun to finally get onto the track because that was our first race in 2021 and actually get to compete against other people other than ourselves.
Yeah, so you mentioned it a little bit that you played a long time in soccer. You were also swimming and diving. You did a little bit of track in high school as well. What was it about cross country and track and field that you wanted to continue doing at the collegiate level, and how much confidence does it take to basically try a new sport? Even though you have the distance running experience in track, it's a little different on the cross country course.
Yeah, so I just love the challenge of distance running. Being a part of a team, but it also being an individual component where, I can push myself and I have times, but I'm also working for a greater cause of a team was really exciting to me. And seeing later on in my track career, I got to try a steeplechase race in high school, which is really uncommon for Ohio distance runners. That was a lot of fun, and I saw it as a challenge, and I was like, okay, if I actually train and I'm able to train year-round with running, how far can I go? And that challenge really excited me to be able to continue collegiately and train year-round for running.
What was it about BW that kind of brought you comfort in knowing that this was going to be a place where you could not only ply your trade on the cross-country course, but academically as well?
Yeah, so Coach Eby really made a big influence on me coming here. His excitement for all the potential I did have was something that drew me into the program, and what could be if I continued running, and also the academic side of things in the program here I really liked. I liked the team, and I love the feel of BW, and I really like everything about being here.
You're an exercise science major, correct?
Yep, and pre-allied health.
What are you hoping to pursue career-wise once you get done running here at BW?
Yeah, so my end career goal is to go to PT school. That's something I've wanted since middle school, and I've stuck with that career goal, and I love everything about the major, the hands-on, and finally being a junior and being able to apply some of the academics I've learned, I've really been enjoying recently.
Had you had experience being an athlete that's played for so long? Had you ever had an experience where you needed a physical therapy, and did that kind of help push you in that direction?
I've actually, knock on wood, been very fortunate, very fortunate.
I'll knock on wood for you. I don't want to put the broadcaster jinx on you.
Yeah, so when it comes to injuries, I've been very fortunate. I just like being around sports. I grew up with 3 siblings, and we were constantly at different sports games and around athletics all the time. And it's something I've really liked and just wanted to be involved in after high school in athletics.
What is it about, we see so many people who, after their careers are over, they want to stay around the sport in whatever capacity they can. Mine, it was broadcasting. I was nowhere near the athlete that anybody I've ever talked to on this program ever was. But, I just wanted to be around that competitive environment. What was it about athletics that made you want to be a part of this long term, even after your playing days were over?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of friends, a lot of teammates who have gone through some really bad injuries and had to rehab. And I just like being able to help people stay and continue to do what they want to do. And with being PT, I'd love to be able to help rehab athletes back to being able to be successful on the field.
How hard is it to juggle the schedule of competing in cross country and track and field, which takes up both semesters, and have a pretty intense major like exercise science?
It is challenging. It's not easy. College has definitely taught me time management skills and how to utilize time outside of practice, because we do spend a lot of time practicing as well as in the academic field doing classes and shadowing hours and stuff. But it's definitely a life skill you need to know is
Yeah.
how to balance and everything. And this has been a good opportunity, and I've been able to make a lot of connections and figure out scheduling and what works best for me.
Do you take classes in the summertime as well to kind of help ease the burden when you're in season?
Yeah, so I actually have taken a couple summer classes being a double major, and that's helped a ton. It has.
What's your other major?
So I'm exercise science and then pre-PT allied health.
Pre-PT,
Yep.
okay. Do they kind of go hand in hand, or is it like easier that way, or is it a little bit more of a challenge because you're taking extra classes and extra responsibilities on?
Yeah, they overlap. I really do like to see the classes start to overlap though, and get to start applying things between both majors and get with the exercise science side of things a lot of the more athletic-based training and learning, creating exercise programs and stuff, but also the rehabilitation side and science side of the PT major.
Yeah, when over the last month or so, you've been able to compete in a meet and then have 2 weeks off. Compete in a meet, have 2 weeks off. You're in the midst of that again, and you're gearing up for the Ohio Athletic Conference Championships. What have you done over the last 2 weeks since your last meet to kind of prepare yourself? And when do you start like tapering down the physical workouts to make sure you're healthy to run on race day?
Yeah, so we taper a little bit. Mileage goes down a little bit. Our long runs and time go down a little bit. But for the most part, we do still train pretty hard. Last week was a pretty good training block. I'm really excited moving forward with that because we still have, after OACs, we still have regionals, which is still a couple weeks out and still building. But we definitely take it down a little bit going into conference to try to get ready.
I've always admired from afar the running athletes, that especially the distance runners, because it's in other sports you have timeouts, you have breaks in the action, you have offense, you have defense. In your sport, there are no timeouts. You have 25 minutes or less to run to the top of the leaderboard in cross country. How are you able to handle the mental aspect of that sport? I mean, obviously it's a grind physically, but mentally, is it just as difficult, if not more so?
Absolutely. Mental toughness is something we talk about all the time, and Coach places big emphasis on your mental game plan. What are you going to tell yourself when it starts to get hard? What are you going to tell yourself when it hurts? Because it's going to. There's never been a race where it's like, oh, this feels great. Like the time is going to come where it does hurt, and coming up with race plans and knowing what you're going to tell yourself in those moments is something I look for, or I do before each meet.
So what does Cassie Kolonchuk tell herself in the middle of a run that may or may not be going well, but you know that you have some work to do to try and catch up?
Yeah, I like to look back on all the training I've done. With cross country, we've been training since late May, early June. Those workouts in June and July that, it was hot, it was horrible. And those are things I try to rely back on, is like all the work I've put into where I'm at and like all the potential I have and everything I've done to get to the point to where I'm at.
How hard is it to go on these long bus rides where you're traveling 3-4 hours sometimes, and you run for basically a half hour and then you get back on the bus? I mean, how difficult is it to kind of get yourself geared up? Like, what do you do on the bus to get yourself mentally prepared? Is there a certain playlist that you have? Like, what kind of music do you listen to get yourself ready?
I definitely listen to some pump-up jams. We have a couple playlists we like to listen to. I always have a course map on hand to look over the course and kind of plan out, okay, I know there's a hill here, or this is going to be fast, this is going to be slow, just to kind of visualize what we're going to run, where it's going to get tough, and, like, prepare for the unknowns, like what happens if this happens here, what happens if I fall here, stuff like that.
So the weather forecast was a little warmer last weekend. You didn't have a meet. This weekend it's supposed to be a little cooler. Do you like running in the cooler weather?
Depends how cool.
Yeah,
But yes.
we're talking moderately cool,
Yeah.
not Ohio frigid, which comes in November and basically lasts till April.
Absolutely. Yeah, running in the cooler weather is so much better. I've always enjoyed through all my sports cooler weather. Rain makes it a lot more challenging when it comes to cross country and the footing and stuff. But cooler temperatures are usually pretty nice and make the meet go a little bit better.
You've run on a variety of different tracks. You've run on some golf courses. You've run on some cross country courses. What do you feel you like best, and what brings out the best in you?
Flat. As
Fair
most
enough.
cross-country runners would agree with me, flat courses are nice. Running on golf courses is nice with the short grass, but each course is a different challenge, and it's fun to get to travel and try new courses and go new places.
I know football players sometimes have to wear different cleats if they're playing on grass versus turf. Do you have to do the same thing in cross country?
Yeah, so sometimes we'll change out the spikes. We have different length spikes, like 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, that we can change out based on the course, how the footing is, and that's stuff that we piece out during warm-up time, so we go out and feel it, and if we need to make adjustments there, or if it's super muddy, we can make adjustments to the spikes to get a little bit more traction.
Well, before I let you go, I have a few more questions. What's it like to team up with Hope Murphy and to kind of have her set the bar for the rest of the team?
Yeah, Hope's a really awesome runner and a really awesome teammate. It's really fun to get to watch her be successful and be a part of her team, and want to be successful with her. One of our big goals is to close the gap. That's something we talk about, close the gap, and getting to watch her train alongside her is really awesome.
What do you think's been the key to her success? I mean, she's basically won every invitational that she's competed in this year.
She works so hard. She does. She puts in the time, and she's really out there grinding and treating every workout, like giving it her all, and really putting in the effort.
The thing I've noticed about her and in talking to you as well is the humility, the humble approach to your sport. Despite having the success that you and Hope have had, you've maintained that humility. How do you keep that level head to keep driving yourself forward and help pushing your teammates forward as well?
Yeah, running is a sport where you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, and it's really the lows get low, but they make the highs better. So it's really enjoying the good times and using the hard times to, okay, we got to keep working. It was a bad workout, move on to the next and keep on working away to get closer to our goals.
So heading into the OAC Championships this weekend, how excited are you for that, and what can the Yellow Jacket fans expect out of this team?
Yeah, we're really excited. Like I said, cross country training all summer. We look forward to this meet and postseason. We've had a great training block the last couple of weeks. The men's and women's teams have been stepping up and having some really good workouts and really good training, and we're ready for some big races if we let it happen. So it's starting to piece what we do in practice into performances and really competing out there.
Well, Cassie, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah,
It was a
thank you
pleasure
for having
talking
me.
with you. Best of luck down in New Concord in the OAC Championships hosted by Muskingum University.
Thank you.
That's standout cross-country runner Cassie Kolonchuk. And that'll wrap up the interview portions for